Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I might not have this big beard for much longer. And I might have to shorten my hair soon as well. It's getting quite long. Everybody's telling me to cut it. And I only want to be contrarian up to a point when it comes to my hair. Yeah. If you're new to this channel and you're still with us, congratulations. I have a few things worth mentioning, I think. But this is actually going to be, even though it doesn't seem it right now, a pretty practical car video. We're gonna read a little bit of Emile Coue. But I want to mention that we just finished up the live version of this 4-week SP and self-concept course that you may have heard me talk about before. And it was really interesting. Really great people were attending live. So I'm glad that we did the course. And I recorded it. So if people would like to purchase the 4 parts that are recorded, it's about over 6 hours of teaching and conversation about SP and self-concept issues. The course is available just directly through me. You have to email me. It's not like, at least not yet, there's no page or anything set up for it. You can email me at info@radicalcounselor.com. The bar, from what I've seen, is incredibly low, but this is the best SP course of all time. I think, at least. But like I said, the bar is incredibly low. Maybe there's a good SP course out there that I don't know about, but $95. It's worth 10 times that. I know courses that are SP related that are 10 times that cost and don't have a fraction of the insider information that we went over in this course that we just completed. So if you have SP issues, and this is particularly goes for people with SP issues or people that really want to work on self-concept, this course, I almost guarantee you, will help you resolve some of those SP and self-concept issues, because we really hone in on the main thing people don't want to talk about when it comes to SP issues, which is you are the real SP. You are the real specific person. Always. Today I thought we could, kind of go over some fundamental stuff that, again, is presented poorly, generally speaking, in the online space when it comes to law of assumption, law of attraction, and manifesting a better life for yourself and for others. So I thought we'd read Coue, because he's the best at making us step back. Because what I've seen a lot in general, but also recently, is that, and I think this relates to the SP content that I've been sharing with people. I think a lot of people who might be very successful even in certain aspects of their life, like already have manifested incredible, for instance, jobs or, healthy relationships besides romantic relationships, or, have manifested being in really good health and being in shape or something like that. People who already are really successful, and also people who don't feel like they're as successful as they want to be, they see this online content when it comes to manifesting, manifest your ideal life, in a week or a month or 3 months or whatever. And even though they've already had success manifesting things successfully and know how that process usually kind of works, they fall for that. And then they're disappointed when they're unable to manifest what they want within 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, whatever it may be. And what surprises me somewhat, and at the same time I understand it because of how it's presented online, what surprises me is that people fall for this. Because the truth is, this is the truth, and this is my opinion, and you're welcome to disagree with it. And if you're new to this channel, you certainly might disagree with it. You might have to see and experience this stuff more for yourself before you get what I'm saying in this regard. The presentation and the idea that a lot of people are successful implementing these principles in the 3-week, 3-month time frame that is promoted and promised people online, like, these sensationalistic promises: manifest your SP in 3 weeks, solve all your problems in 3 months. It's utter horseshit. It's not true. It's not true most of the time. 99.5% of the time or more, probably, it's not true. You might be able to resolve certain significant things in your life quickly. That is true. But usually, quite frankly, you're not going to be able to. You might be able to do it once or do it occasionally, but I think people who have had a lot of success in their life in certain areas still fall prey or fall trap to this idea that somehow these online influencers are telling them the truth when they say you can manifest something quickly and that's it. All your life problems are going to be resolved in 3 weeks or 3 months or 3 years even. And it's just, it's like this very sensationalistic, false advertising. That's not how life works, at least for anyone I've ever met. And I've met some interesting people, and I'm sure you have too. But I don't want you to fall for that junk. Most people who are trying to implement these principles, particularly people who are watching a lot of YouTube videos, are stressed out about the process. And they're not consistently able to get the results they want. Period. You are not doing anything wrong. You are just being basically lied to by these influencers and these people online making comments that you've never actually met in real life, saying, oh, how easy this is, and this is all you have to do, and you just affirm, or you just visualize it, These people, in my opinion, are full of shit. Some of them may be well-meaning, and they might have had some success talking about what they're doing, but guess what? I've had some success talking about what I'm doing too. It doesn't mean you're always going to have success and this is like a blanket formula. There is no blanket formula. There is no fucking shortcut. If there was a shortcut, people already would have discovered it. It's not these online influencers talking about stuff that are giving you the shortcut. There's a much more mature, sane, healthy way to look at these fascinating principles than just looking for some shortcut to fix your life completely in 3 months. When it comes to SP stuff, for instance, one thing teaching this course brought up for me is like, wow, good therapeutic advice in terms of romantic relationships is so much more helpful than this manifesting advice in regards to relationships. Now, if you start watching a lot of SP videos, you really start to believe, oh, I robotically affirm this is going to solve everything. That's a bunch of garbage for the vast majority of people who do it. Doesn't mean that through robotic affirming you can't get certain things into your life or potentially attract your partner. It just means that there's a lot of other work besides just robotic affirming you have to do to have that work well long-term for you. We try to do deep work here. This channel is about doing deep inner work. And it's an intersection between these manifesting ideas, your spiritual practice, your, psychology, self-improvement, all this stuff. This is like where the rivers meet, And it's open and informal. But it's not some sensationalistic thing like this is going to solve everything. And guess what? That goes for someone even as great as Emile Coue, who most of you know is my favorite manifesting teacher. Coue had a formula that he said worked for everybody quickly. And guess what? It is a formula that works for everybody quickly, pretty much at least, if you do it correctly, if you believe it. But believing it is the tough part. And the reason that Coue isn't far more famous than he should be, the reason he's not far more famous than he is, and I still think he should be far more famous than he currently is, but the reason that you don't hear about Coue hardly at all these days is because his formula, as amazing as it was, was not as successful as he claimed it would be. Because you need to believe it works. So much of this stuff, and I spoke about this a lot at the beginning of my podcast, so much of this stuff is basically about hypnotizing yourself that something's going to work. If you induce in yourself the belief that something is going to work, if you hypnotize yourself that something is going to work, it's going to work. Or in the very least, it's going to shift your life energetically so things are going to get better in the way you're looking at the issue. If you induce in yourself, if you hypnotize yourself into the belief that you are going to be healthier, you will become healthier. You know, if you induce the belief into yourself that you are going to be a more loving person that's going to be in a good relationship, you're going to be a more loving person, and chances are you're going to probably get into a relationship. It's self-hypnotism. And you got to figure out how to self-hypnotize yourself. And that is not just a step-by-step process that everybody can do in the same way. You got to figure it out for yourself. So as great as someone like Coue is in giving you the steps to help you do that, even he, who had the best steps of anybody that I know of when it comes to this manifesting stuff, even he can only bring you to the water. You still have to drink it. And just doing his auto-suggestion method is not going to make you drink the water for a lot of people long term. I'm just telling you that. You have to understand the stuff he's talking about, the underlying principles that he explains better than anybody, and that all these other great teachers like Neville and Joseph Murphy and Abraham Hicks and, Florence Scovel Shinn and whoever explain very well in their own way. You have to understand the underlying principles and then figure out how to apply them into your own life in your own particular way in order for this stuff to really be believed more and more thoroughly, in order for you to self-hypnotize yourself. But the basis, the practicality of it is far more simple than we usually are led to believe. And again, I mean, if you're new to this channel, you're either like, holy shit, this is the best video about this I've ever seen, or you're like, this guy's fucking nuts. So either come in and welcome, or, I'm sorry, I'll see you later. It's one or the other, basically. But if you're still listening, I'm going to read from Self-Mastery Through Conscious Autosuggestion, which is a book that Coue wrote or was published, of Coue's teachings in the early in 1920, right around 1920. I've read part of this before, if not the whole thing, this whole section, but this is the kind of section that you can read multiple times over the course of years and learn something from each time you read it. This is, in my opinion, like the basis of most law of assumption, law of attraction advice we hear. Okay, Coue says, return now to the point where I said that we could control and direct our imagination as easily as we could divert a torrent or control a wild horse. All that is required is for us to realize that it is possible, a fact of which most people are ignorant. Next, we must know what means to use. Well, the means are very simple. In fact, without wanting to and without knowing it, we have employed them absolutely unconsciously every day since we came into the world. But, unfortunately for us, we have often employed them wrongly and to our disadvantage. The means are autosuggestions. Instead of autosuggesting unconsciously, all that is needed is for us to autosuggest consciously, and here is the way to do it. First, consider carefully the things which are to be the object of your autosuggestions and decide whether the matter requires an affirmation or a negation. Then repeat several times without thinking of anything else. This comes or this goes. This is going to happen or that is not going to happen, etc., etc. If the unconscious accepts the suggestion, if it auto-suggests, you will find that the idea is realized in every detail. Please understand that autosuggestion is nothing else but hypnotism as I comprehend it. It may be defined in simple words as influence of the imagination on the moral and physical being of man. This influence is undeniable, and without repeating examples previously noted, I will cite several others. If you induce in yourself a belief that you can do a certain thing, provided it conforms to the laws of nature, you are going to do it, no matter how difficult it may be. If, on the contrary, you imagine that you cannot do the simplest thing in the world, it becomes impossible for you to accomplish it. A molehill may become to you an unsurmountable mountain. So that's just an excerpt. I obviously recommend reading all of Self-Mastery Through Conscious Autosuggestion several times, constantly. But that's it. I mean, those few paragraphs are one of the best summations of manifesting principles I've ever read. And again, I think this is on my mind just because of just having taught the SP course and speaking to several people through consultations and through, coaching and counseling sessions where this comes up. But I think it's important to realize that a sober assessment of what's going on is not a bad thing. Realizing that this sensationalistic presentation of these principles that's touted on YouTube and elsewhere is bullshit, and that it's not that easy, but that it is a legit thing that they're talking about, that manifestation is real, that what I just read from Coue is real, that that's how our imagination, our thinking, our autosuggestion works, and that we can harness it. Realizing that, being sober and mature and realizing that, and then working on how you can basically self-hypnotize yourself to improve yourself and improve your life. That's the practice. That's the work. And it's very gratifying work if you get into it. And it's amazing. And you can do some truly amazing things. But that's the big boy, big girl application of these principles. So I hope that you continue to study and practice and live those principles in your life, and realize that if you make a mistake, it's just part of the process, and that people are making mistakes all the time when it comes to this stuff. And it's the people who acknowledge that they, perhaps didn't do it the way they wanted to and just keep on going and keep on honing and refining that really get the long-term gratification and results they want from applying these manifesting principles into their life. A sober, mature, grateful approach towards these ideas is hugely helpful in living a better life, in my opinion. So I hope that you followed this and stayed with me. If you would like help, if you have any questions, or if you'd like coaching or counseling with me, I can be reached at info@radicalcounselor.com, or you can just contact me on my website, radicalcounselor.com. Until we speak again, be here.